And this is where I disagree with Andrew Tate on. And the reason I disagree with this is that your friendship shouldn't matter the gender of the person, right? You could still get value in the friendship regardless of the person's gender.
But if I meet a girl, let's say I were to come up to you on the street and I were to talk to you, I would be talking to you with a pure intention. And my intention is pure. My intention is to try and take you on a date. I would say, you're absolutely beautiful. Really nice to meet you. I'd like to take you on a date. If you said, oh, I've got a man, I would say, okay, cool. You got a man. Nice to meet you. Goodbye. My intention is pure. It's not just.
That's perfect advice right there. Absolutely 100% agree with that. When it really comes down like men's issues and speaking about them, Andrew Tate was appealing to them. He was actually talking about them, like male loneliness and not being able to get girls. And he was like kind of laying out this framework that you need to do this, you need to do that. And if you do those things, you can attract a woman. AiA episode 48, talking about Andrew Tate and his banning, which has now happened on Instagram, TikTok. I think now his channel got banned on YouTube. He's basically been banned everywhere. And I basically waited to actually make this video because I was actually going to make a video last week on Andrew Tate's banning, but I think he was only banned on Facebook and Instagram at the moment. But then he was banned on TikTok, and now he's banned on YouTube, and I think he's going to be banned on other sites such as Twitch. I mean, he's basically being banned everywhere across the internet. And now, obviously, why is this happening? So Andrew Tate, if you don't know already, has got extremely popular this year especially. He has reached, heights that I didn't think it was possible for him to achieve. He honestly just was able to get extremely popular, basically within the red pill community, become mainstream. He was the most Googled person on Google, I think, for a week or something. And now he's being banned from all of these sites. Do I think he's still going to be popular? Of course, because he's still going to make content. He's still going to, get it out there some way. He still has got other platforms, I guess, like Twitter. But he can still get content out there. And I think his fans, part of why, Hustlers University, if we want to go into that, is basically with that, he will make a lot of money as long as people keep signing up, and they will keep sharing his clips of whatever he posts so they can get more views and they can attract more attention to him and also have affiliate links to Hustlers University, all of that included. And this first article here, again, I will say this, that all of the links to all of the things I will talk about in this video will be down in the description. But anyways, this first article here kind of details of why he was sort of banned on YouTube and also Facebook and Instagram and all of these sites. I know TikTok put out a statement, basically, misogynist is a hateful ideology and not tolerated on TikTok. Same thing with Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, officially banned him due to violations of policies. I know there are links that I know Meta put out of what he actually banned everywhere, to, disrespecting women, being misogynist, to hate speech, whatever. Again, I have made episodes. I have made a episode on Andrew Tate. I think it was debating XQC. I will get to that. But also I have talked about Andrew Tate before, and he is someone who speaks very hyperbolically. And I think that was his, really downfall here for actually getting bans on all these platforms. And actually was, since he's been banned, I actually went to his website, cobratate.com, and it's not found. Like, literally. And I thought this was quite interesting because this is really his only source of income at the moment, you would say, because he doesn't have his YouTube channel anymore. He doesn't have his Instagram. He doesn't have Facebook. He doesn't have a lot of media platforms anymore. I guess he still has Twitter. But I mean, really, he doesn't have much else. So he, Cobra Tate, his website is where he sells Hustlers University, the War Room, all of those things. And I was actually going to explore those in this episode today, but I went to his website and it's not found. So I don't know if it got cyber attacked or it got removed or it's down for some reason. I'm not 100% sure. But that is quite suspicious in my opinion. But regardless, it sucks because that was going to be a big portion of this episode is actually going through his website and, kind of checking it out and everything, but I really can't. But I guess to get to the more, I guess, spicy details of like why I think he should have been banned, when it comes to speech and saying certain things, I don't think people should be banned just for saying something, because at the end of the day, I think freedom of speech is very important. I'm a big proponent of it. And Andrew Tate obviously was a big proponent of it as well. He said things very hyperbolically. He was not careful with his speech whatsoever. But ultimately, this is why I think he probably should have been banned. I don't know if this exactly violates community guidelines when it comes to all of these sites. But initially, how Andrew Tate got a lot of his money was, well, he was obviously a famous kickboxer, but being a kickboxer, he was around a lot of, connections and was able to get a good amount of women. And basically what he did with getting a lot of these women is he basically ran a webcam girl business where he had at one point 75 models that he all slept with, by the way. He makes sure to say that, that worked for him and made him millions and millions of dollars. Now, I will, in his favor, they did make a lot of money as well. So again, he wasn't totally exploiting them, but he still was exploiting them to an extent. When it comes to, the porn industry or the adult industry, I guess is a better way of saying it, is there's a lot of exploitation that goes in it. And there's no doubt in my mind these women were exploited. But at the end of the day, if they were able to get the bag and make a good amount of money, that's good for them. I'm happy that they did that. But at the end of the day, he was basically a pimp. He was exploiting them. There has been allegations of human trafficking. Now, again, I'm not making those allegations, but those allegations have been made against Andrew Tate. So we have to obviously factor that into the equation when it comes to actually banning him off these platforms. This is where I think the substantial evidence is very important. Now, also, a big reason why he got off on these charges of actually, running this business and, actually having these women work for him is he moved to Romania. So he used to live in the United Kingdom. And he also lived in America for the United States for a bit, but now he moved to Romania, which this right here is the corruption percentages index. So basically it ranks all the countries in the world when it comes to are they corrupt or not? And you can basically see the West seems to be the least corrupt. So you can see the Nordic countries, you could see France, Germany, you can see the UK, Ireland, and the United States and Canada. Those are the ones in the green. You can see Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand here. And, it mainly looks like the West in a way. And again, that's, good for the West, I guess. But obviously it's if you're not in the top 25 of countries, you're not, I guess, doing too well. But you have to scroll all the way down to number, I think it's 66. Yeah, 66. So Romania has a score of 45 when it comes to is it corrupt or not. And Andrew Tate has talked about this a lot when he actually is doing his, I think he was on a podcast and he was talking about in, America, or if I was in Germany, or if I was, in whatever country, UK, if I get pulled over for a speeding ticket, I can't just hand the guy $100 and say here you go, bribe him off and then move on. Because you can't do that in those countries. And ultimately, that's why I think that he probably moved to Romania to, basically obfuscate these charges when it comes to actually running a cam girl business and exploiting women and having those allegations of human trafficking. He knew that he had to get out of the United Kingdom because I think he lived in the UK at that time. So it's very important to look at of why he actually lives in Romania now. And ultimately, that's where I would put on him is if these social media companies and these, any websites out there that want to ban Andrew Tate, this is the thing they should be looking at, because this is the type of behavior that is ultimately really bad to have in the world because it's, against the law. I guess my fundamental philosophy is doing an action is a lot worse than, speaking. And again, I know a lot of Andrew Tate's speeches are very hateful, misogynistic, bad. But at the end of the day, this is a direct action, and that's where I seem to have the problem with it, I would say. But I guess moving on here. So I did an episode of Andrew Tate, and this was the XQC versus Andrew Tate debate. This was AiA episode 42. This was honestly like a really good episode, I think, in my opinion. It was a very long episode too, about an hour and a half. But it was a really good episode, in my opinion, because, I really liked the dynamic of Andrew Tate versus XQC. I think it was really good. But kind of looking at this debate here, this is where Andrew Tate really exploded. And this was about a month and a half ago, roughly, where Andrew Tate, this is where he reached new levels. So he was already going on Aiden Ross's stream, and Aiden Ross is one of the biggest Twitch streamers out there. So Andrew Tate just being on Aiden Ross's stream, having 100,000 or more concurrent viewers is, crazy for his career. He was, having like 200,000, 250,000 members for Hustlers University. This guy was literally making like $10 million a month because, all these people are giving him $50 to join a Discord server so they can learn how to make money that way. Not exactly sure, but he was reaching new heights, and he knew that he had to stay on Twitch. I'm really surprised that Andrew Tate actually hasn't been banned from Twitch yet. I don't know why they're slow on the draw with that, but again, but being on Aiden Ross's stream, he was reaching, great heights with this. And then XQC listened to that sort of debate, and with, Andrew Tate being on Aiden Ross's stream, and he's like, you know what? I actually want to have a conversation with this guy. I want to see if I can talk to him. So XQC wanted to have a conversation with him. It was a pretty long conversation, 2.5 hours. But this is where they were reaching well over 100,000 viewers, because you have to remember there was like 100,000 viewers watching Aiden Ross and Andrew Tate, and there was also near 100,000 watching XQC at the same time. So there were so many people watching this at the same time, and this is obviously huge when it comes to Andrew Tate's career. And this is when he was absolutely skyrocketing, and just basically just making everywhere, just being the most Googled man. I think that's where it really came, was around this time. And also, I think I was going to talk about a little bit of what initially kickstarted Andrew Tate's career, because a lot of people, obviously, if they're not terminally online like I'm a terminally online person. When it comes to anything online, I probably know about it to an extent. If it's been online and it's relatively popular, I know something about it. So Andrew Tate was on the Fresh and Fit podcast back in November 30th of 2021. So this was about 8-9 months ago, I think 9 months ago at this point. So about 9 months ago, he was on the Fresh and Fit podcast where he was getting really popular. And this is where he kind of started his arc of being very popular, because I think what a lot of people don't understand is that Andrew Tate has actually been making internet videos for over a decade now. He had YouTube channels where he was making videos back in 2010. Obviously not many people knew about him back then, but I was relatively familiar with Andrew Tate around 2018, 2019-ish. That's when I kind of knew who he was. But obviously in 2020 is when he really exploded. And then, Hustlers University, the Red Pill, and everything like that. And this is where he became extremely popular. This was his kickstart into really big fame. I mean, this video for a podcast, which is 3.5 hours long, it has over 1 million views. It's, relatively good. And this was Fresh and Fit almost a year ago. So this is something that is really good for Andrew Tate when it came to his careers, getting on Fresh and Fit. He was also on another episode of Fresh and Fit right here as well. But again, he sort of kind of rode the wave of the popularity, and he did really good with it. Now, I also have this clip I wanted to show. So this is basically, to make it come off as or to really show that I don't agree with Andrew Tate, because I think there was this big misconception of when I actually talked about, Andrew Tate on my YouTube channel, because I actually did a red pill debate. I think that was episode 45 when I did it against Master Peer. I did a red pill debate, and I brought up Andrew Tate a lot, I would say, at least a couple of times. And I didn't mean to bring him up and basically say like, oh yeah, everything he says is completely true. He's right on everything. But I basically used him as an example of he was saying very hyperbolic things, but that doesn't mean they aren't true. And for some things I do kind of agree with him on, but there are other things like this where I don't agree with him on. Do I agree with him on like the status thing? Like men need to have status to attract women? Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Now, would I go as far as him in saying that, oh yeah, men need to be like, multimillionaires and drive a Bugatti and, then they can get women? No, that's obviously like, I don't agree with that. If you're just a man who has like a job and has a stable income, that's probably enough status for you to get a woman, honestly. When it comes to like health and fitness and working out, obviously you don't need to have a six pack, but you probably should work out to an extent, eat healthy and be as healthy relatively as you can. And, when it comes to that, and also like socialization, talking to people, obviously, these are the main like red pill fundamental sort of beliefs. But when it comes to like fundamental things like that, I guess I'm giving people more the benefit of the doubt than I should, because when I hear Andrew Tate say like, oh, you need status as a man to attract a woman, I think of it like the everyday man having status, having a job, and that's how they attract women. That's how I look at it. But I think a lot of people take it way too literally, and they say Andrew Tate like, oh, you need status to attract a woman, but they're going to misinterpret that and saying like, you need his status to attract a woman. And that's not true. But again, maybe the internet is too autistic to like actually figure this out. But here's a clip that I'm going to be showing where I absolutely disagree from what Andrew Tate says. So let's go through it and see what he says.
A little bit about the stupidity of having female friends.
Really?
From
I'm a bad guy,
from a
but
holistic perspective.
Sure, from a holistic perspective.
You don't want like a female perspective or anything?
No. I'll just tell you why personally.
You ask the men.
I have zero female friends.
Okay.
That does not mean I'm not polite to women. Doesn't mean I don't have female acquaintances. Right? Doesn't mean I can't meet all of you and say hello to you and see you on the street and say hello to you, etc. But the idea of having a female friend, someone I hang out with often, who is my friend and we're purely platonic, is garbage. It's garbage because as a man, I'm spending 99% of my energy finding a sexual partner, and any partner of mine who I'm also having sex with, my girlfriend, my wife, whoever it may be, she is my friend. There's no benefit from female friendship outside of the friendship I'm going to get from my partner. Truthfully, it can really be the same the other way around. If you have a man and you truly love him and he's your guy, you shouldn't really need other dudes. That's the truth. You shouldn't.
And this is where I disagree with Andrew Tate on. And the reason I disagree with this is that your friendship shouldn't matter the gender of the person, right? You could still get value in the friendship regardless of the person's gender, because, yeah, I think you should have a diverse group of friends, not just one gender as your friend, because you want different perspectives in your life. I think everyone can agree with that, but I don't think that he sees the value in having a friendship with a woman where I, call me a lib. I do see the person as, having value regardless of, what gender they are. Because again, it's like you're going to find different groups of people or different male and females, and you're going to be able to interact with these people in different ways, and you're going to be able to see different perspectives. I think that is the most important thing. And also, you can call me a lib here too, is when it really comes down to it, what if you're like gay or asexual or anything like that? Well, then does the opposite gender apply? No, it doesn't. But it's just like, that's where the logic really falls down here. Because like, yeah, should the person you're in a relationship with be like your best friend? I would definitely probably agree with that, because like, you're obviously in a relationship with them. I would hope they would be your friend too, but also in your relationship. I agree with that. But it doesn't mean you can't have other friends that are, the opposite gender or the same gender. It's just, I don't agree with that. But let's just see if he continues to make a point.
But Myron said it perfectly. There is a massive amount of liability to me being friends with a chick. Let's say she's my friend, right? We've been friends. We talk spiritually. Right? for 10 years, I've been listening to her astrology bullshit in my ear, pretending I don't want
Big three. I'm an Aries.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini.
I'm a Sag.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's fire signs.
Guys, let him finish.
For 10 years, I'm listening to this bullshit, pretending I don't want to fuck. We're walking down the street. Some dude comes up, snatches her bag. What, now I have to risk my life to protect a bitch who doesn't even suck dick? Let me tell you, if you're my female friend, I'll be like, look, we're equal, we're friends, you better chase that motherfucker down.
You better go.
Oh, you want me to protect and provide? I'm a man. I'm your man now. I'm your man now. This is the exact point, right? All these, what women do, and it's very, very smart. She said it herself. And I feel like we're picking on you a little bit, and we're not.
I don't feel picked on.
Okay, perfect.
You're good.
Perfect. But she said it herself. That sounds like a great deal to me. I'll take that. I'll take that. It absolutely is, because it's exploitation. Now, any man who allows himself to get exploited.
I mean, I get what he's saying there to an extent. You know, it's like, I think he's looking at the relationships too transactionally. And he's looking at it too transactionally in the way of like, if I'm not getting sex from this woman, then she's worthless to me. And I don't agree with that. I think that you can get value from a friendship, that you can do nice things for other people, and that would be totally fine, right? And you know, it's not all about having sex. I think at the end of the day, it's not just about having sex when, you know, it comes to male and female relationships.
Any man who allows himself to get exploited deserves it. He deserves it. If you're stupid enough to sit there and go, yeah, it's Taurus rising today. Maybe I could see some titty, man. It's been 4 years. Please, if you're stupid enough to get exploited, then you deserve to be exploited.
I agree.
But I am. Let me tell you another thing. Right? There's a difference between these terms are thrown around a lot: alpha male and beta male.
Yeah.
But if I meet a girl, let's say I were to come up to you on the street and I were to talk to you, I would be talking to you with a pure intention. And my intention is pure. My intention is to try and take you on a date. I would say, you're absolutely beautiful. Really nice to meet you. I'd like to take you on a date. If you said, oh, I've got a man, I would say, okay, cool. You got a man. Nice to meet you. Goodbye. My intention is pure. It's not just.
That's perfect advice right there. Absolutely 100% agree with that. Is being upfront with what you want from someone from the jump, you know, right at the start, going in there, saying what you want, but also being respectful. If they say like, oh, I'm in a relationship or something, you know, you say, hey, that's cool. And then you move on. That's amazing advice. That's advice I would give to literally anyone. You see right there where it's like Andrew Tate could give really good advice, but it's all in between all of this like misogynistic talk and hyperbolic talk and like misinterpretations. Like, this is where Andrew Tate's problem really lies, because that point right there is perfect.
Deceiving. 99% of these dudes who are your friends are deceiving with their intentions.
Facts.
And it's beta male bullshit. I'd rather accept a no off a chick and move on than sit there and go, well, if I pretend I'm her friend long enough and I jerk off over her Insta for long enough, I might pull it off when she's drunk. Because that's what they're fucking doing. It's coward beta male bullshit.
I mean, at least at the end there, he gave really good advice. You know, be upfront with your intentions. And, you know, let's say, hey, if they say, you know, oh, I'm in a relationship, you say, hey, that's cool. You know, I tried to shoot my shot, whatever. And then you move on. And that is really good advice right there. Being upfront with your intentions, and obviously not just befriending someone just in the hopes that you might be able to bang them one day, because that's a really bad way to fucking, you know, try to be friends with someone. Because then it's like, you're going to be strung along. I'm not going to say you're going to be exploited, but you're really just going to be sort of living a life you don't want to, right? Because it's like, if I, you know, saw a really hot girl and I was like, you know, if I'm not upfront with her, if I just start talking, she might think, oh, you know, we're just going to be friends, whatever. And then we start being friends, but, you know, I actually want to bang her. But, you know, we keep being friends, and then we're friends and friends and friends for, you know, months and months and months, maybe even years. And then like one day, you know, she like has a breakup, and then whatever, or maybe isn't in a relationship. And then, you know, maybe gets drunk, she's horny, she calls a booty call, and then I finally get it. You know, again, it's like, okay, I got what I want, but, you know, at what cost? Months or years of my life? Exactly. So I think when he's giving advice about being upfront with what you want with women, like as soon as you meet them, that's a really good idea. You know, hey, do you want to go on a date? If you don't, that's cool. If you're in a relationship, that's cool. Amazing advice. So anyways, I kind of wanted to finish the episode out with sort of this Abram Preach video where they talk about Andrew Tate's ban. The censorship will backfire. I really like Abram Preach. They are honestly one of my favorite content creators. I think their comedy is really good. I'm not going to play the whole video here. So if you want to, check out the full video, obviously all these links will be down in the description below. But anyways, let's check this out.
To them. And this is what I've been saying for a long time. When I did the other video, I'm like, listen, red pill for me, but I understand why it's necessary. Yeah. Right? You can hate these movements, you can be against them, but until you deal with the underlying societal problems that lead to these movements, everything else is just putting a band-aid on an infected wound.
True, and that's why Andrew Tate was appealing to these young males through red pill. He was able to absolutely appeal to them really well, and he did it very efficiently. Like, that was 95% of his audience was young males. And even though red pill for me is like, I wouldn't consider myself red pill, but when it comes to like their base level philosophies and beliefs, I can agree with, when it comes to status, working out, eating right, socializing, I agree with all of that. It's just, I think red pill, at least a lot of it, goes a bit too far and kind of promotes this hustle, mindset or grind set when it actually comes to like, oh, you need to be a multimillionaire, you need to have six-pack abs, you need to be 6 foot tall, and if you're not meeting all those things, you're an absolute loser and you're never going to accomplish anything in your life, and you're never going to get women, and you're going to be alone. That's where I think red pill really falls on its face. But when it comes to like the base fundamental philosophies, yeah, I can agree with them.
That's what it is. That's what it is. You're not coming to the concerns of any of these young men, which, whether you like it or not, Andrew Tate spoke to some degree.
True.
Well, why can't they choose a better? There are no better role models. I don't know how many times I've said, I get so sick and tired of fucking women just coming out of the woodwork to be like, well, they're better. What role models?
I mean, that's true. I don't think I can name a male role model today that is not controversial in some way. Some people use, like, when I think of like, I guess like these role models is like Elon Musk. People are going to say a lot of bad shit about him, which they can. Totally, they can. I'm not saying that you can't criticize people. Some people say like Joe Rogan. Some people say like different YouTubers. But there are people that they say like are for male role models. But again, it's like every male role model out there is going to have flaws. They're going to have problems. I think, at least some of my example or some of my kind of like philosophy and belief when it comes to role models is like, try to look at as many role models as you can and try to take a piece of like, basically a piece of truth or a piece of knowledge that no other role model has, and then kind of take it for yourself. Like, okay, this is great. And, that's what I would agree with when it came to looking at role models. Don't just look at one and idolize one role model. I don't think you should idolize any. But, if I wanted to be like, a better male and I'm looking at role models, I might look at Joe Rogan for like storytelling and charisma when it comes to doing that, because he's really good at that. And, maybe I'd look at Elon Musk for, a sense of how to talk about interesting things or complex things when you don't know what you're talking about, because he's really good at that. But then maybe I would look at Andrew Tate when it came to, maybe I should hustle a bit more and try to like, build up what I am right now. And maybe I can be a lot better in the future. And, taking these certain little aspects and certain little bits of knowledge from each role model, that could build you up in a better way, in my opinion.
Go ahead, point them out. Good luck. I'll wait. Because I've had people send me, and you know what? None of them have any advice that are useful in dating. Most of them have terrible advice, if any, okay? And they have little to no experience, so I don't really care to hear from them. So I want y'all to peep the whole formula. We didn't talk about what men were dealing with for a long time. It led to this. Now someone starts talking about it, you're like, don't speak about it. So now we're going back to the very point. They're like, don't plat for this person. Don't speak with them. Well, it's like, well, people want these issues addressed. No, get somebody else. There's better role models. Okay. So let me ask you, where are all these positive role models that y'all been encouraging this entire time? Where are they? When have they rose to prominence? Why aren't they going viral? If there's so many good ones out there and you guys encourage them and support them and then they should be pushed up in these algorithms, how come it's never happened? Can anyone tell me? There's so many positive ones.
Don't look at me.
How come in the last 30 years of my fucking life, I've not seen a single one of these motherfuckers ever promoted on national television or anywhere else? How come no young men have ever gravitated towards these people? Can anybody tell me? I'll wait. Since there's so many, I'll wait. Tell me where these motherfuckers are at.
Oh, we got one.
Who?
Bill Cosby.
And I guess to that was a good joke by Preach. But I guess to speak to that a little bit more, when it really comes down to it, like men's issues and speaking about them, you know, Andrew Tate was appealing to them. He was actually talking about them, like male loneliness and not being able to get girls. And he was like kind of laying out this framework that you need to do this, you need to do that. And if you do those things, you know, you can attract a woman. But at the end of the day, it's like, we like to say we talk about males' issues, but when we actually do, it seems like you get called a misogynist or you get called something, a name, whatever it might be. And, you know, I think that's why the red pill community is so drawing for a lot of people. You know, they look at it, these young men, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to take the red pill. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to get better. I'm going to build up my life. And then maybe then by the time I'm in my 30s, might be able to attract a woman. And for a lot of people, that's the reality. Because if you look at the male virginity rate, which I've talked about before on this channel, it's basically like 1/3 of men age 18 to 30 have not had sex ever or have not had sex in the past year. And that's very important to look at when it comes to, you know, things like the red pill community, why they're so appealing to young men. Why are they speaking on young male issues? You know, I think the biggest thing we probably need to do is speak more about young male issues in obviously a healthy way, because I don't think Andrew Tate was doing it in the most healthy way. I think he was being super hyperbolic and he was not addressing it in a good way, in my opinion. I think there is a positive way it can be addressed and a better way it can be addressed. And, you know, hopefully, you know, maybe even I could talk about sort of like male issues on my podcast if I can get some more people on and, you know, see what happens there. But anyways, I don't want to ramble on for too much longer. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode about me talking about Andrew Tate's ban. I definitely like to hear of what you have or your thoughts about in the comments. Do you think that Andrew Tate should have been banned? Or are you a person who doesn't like censorship and, you know, Andrew Tate should be able to be on these platforms talking about what he wants to talk about? But yeah, as for my take on it, I think that, you know, the system, the social media companies themselves have the right to ban people they want, you know, whether they are controversial or not, because at the end of the day, these are companies that can do what they want on their sites because it's their domain at the end of the day. But again, I still think Andrew Tate's going to be spread throughout these websites through clippers and, you know, all of his other fans and stuff. But anyways, though, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And until next time, see ya.